Hello. Welcome back to the String Curly podcast. This is my name. That's cool. My name is Neema. We keep it raw. You already know. If you listen to this, I fuck up every intro.
We haven't had one good intro in 119 episodes.
Well, then you're consistent.
That's great. See, that's the way I
reframe.
See it. That's the way I see it. I'm consistent and fucking
nice reframe.
My name is Neema. This is my brother Omid. This is we're straight. I'm straight. He's not straight, but I'm kidding. He's curly. It's our hairstyles, not our sexuality, as you of course know. And today we have another special guest, and he's a return guest. I think this is our second return guest now.
Something like
in
that.
Person. Something like that. But anyway, he's a stand-up comedian. He's an actor. He's a writer, and he's really funny. And he tours all over, and he'll tell you all about it. Today, give it up for Andrew Packer.
Wow. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Oh, I feel so welcome. This is great. Awesome.
You're a very calming presence.
Well, I just had the most calming drive you can have. Coming up here, are you kidding me? It's a sunny day. The leaves are all changing into different colors, just showing it off.
That's it.
And it was like I was singing in the car, having like a real good time, and I was just like vibing and just like when you're just like in it, and your whole like to your core, your chakras are shaking. Like I was having a fun time, and then I see like on the highway, I see a cop, and I'm like, ooh, like I can't have another one. I can't have another speeding ticket. I can't afford the insurance to go up like this. But then I noticed that I didn't have his gun out, and he had just pulled it up when I was passing by, and I'm like, praise Jesus, baby. That's thank you so much.
Doesn't your heart sink as soon as you see that?
Full on pit in my stomach. You think you're at like the bottom of a roller coaster, just like game over.
Exactly.
You know?
Did you get a lot of tickets?
Not a lot, but I did get one on my last tour through Alberta. And get this. Guess what he clocked me at?
On the highway?
On the highway.
What,
Guess what he clocked me at?
105.
Got to be like 130 or something.
No.
120.
122.
Wow.
122.
Like, get fucked. Especially
Seriously.
in Alberta, where
everyone's ripping.
Like, everyone's ripping it. Some of the highways are 110. This one was 100, but most of the highways are 110.
Yeah.
And you're going to pull me over at 122 when I'm driving to your town to make laughs happen? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And this was 5 hours into a 6-hour drive.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So close.
Yeah, so close.
No.
I was so rattled by the whole situation. At the show, we like actively like made fun of the town's police officers for doing that, and then we gave out a bucket that said like the ticket fund. And it like covered like 80% of the ticket.
Shit, that's pretty good.
People are
Shout
pretty
out
cool.
Alberta, bro.
They're like, yeah, those guys are assholes out here, man.
Shout out to the Alberta citizens for helping out Andrew.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Is comedy different out there?
It was happening, so that was different. Like it was
That's the different part.
that was a big difference.
This was recently?
This was we left August 18th, I think, and it was a full 3 weeks on tour throughout Alberta and BC.
Wow.
And such a fun experience. The crowds were like alive, man. There was no masks, there was no anything. Obviously
I get it.
That didn't work out for them in the long run.
Right.
Man, was it fun. It was so fun.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you find the crowds are different in different like states or provinces?
Yeah, well, you get to see like straight up, you get to see like complete like political differences and all this like stuff right in front of your face, you know? Like in Toronto, most people are like, we love Justin, you know, like for the most part, or like conservative-ish, but like over there, they just like this. I had this guy come up to me and start the conversation with, "So you didn't vote for that Justin guy, did you?" It's like, dude, this is how you're starting the conversation with me. You're gonna start like that.
So good.
like
Welcome to Alberta.
Yeah. So you get like conversations like that sometimes, and then it's more like, I think the more stark difference though is like when you go from major metropolitan city to smaller town. That's where you see like large differences in crowds.
Also, the smaller towns literally don't give a fuck what you say.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Some of them don't. There's that. Like you don't have to be like politically correct
unless it's about Jesus. Then you're fucked.
Yeah.
no one will laugh at that.
But it's also you're getting some people that haven't been to a show before and don't know how to like treat it. And
that's true.
I was in this like small ass town, and it was called Redwater, Alberta, like super,
Yeah.
so small. I
Out
tell
there.
people in Edmonton I'm going to Redwater, and they'd be like, "What's that?" Like, you know what I
Wow.
mean? Like
They don't even know.
They don't even know, right? And we're there, and there's like these like girls in the front row that just don't get it. Like the host went on, told them to stop talking. Then the middle was on, still talking, told them to stop talking. You know, just not getting it. And they're like, their mentality was like, we're like hot shit because they're like from Edmonton, and then they're living in this small town, so they think they're like the hot shit girls.
Oh my God.
And like literally they've been told like to stop talking at least like 3-4 times already, and one of them pulls up her phone and starts Instagram storying the situation of like
God.
being at the show, like look at me,
Jeez.
front row,
Wow.
Like
dead.
complete ignorance.
complete ignorance.
Oh my God.
And then I went up and like I literally like I dealt with it. I powered through some jokes over top of them because
Wow.
like, you know, for the most part most people are still enjoying the show even when there is like one person who's being a shit. But and then at one point I was like, you guys just need to leave. Like,
Yeah.
you just leave now.
Oh, you said that.
What we do now is you leave.
Wow.
And they're like, what? And then I just started like impersonating them, be like, oh my God, how could this have happened? Like if like only the first comic went up and told me to stop talking, and then the next comic told me to stop talking, and then I kept talking, and then the headliner told me to stop talking, and I kept talking, and then it's like, but what, how? Like, and the whole audience is like annoyed and laughing at
So
the
good.
situation.
Good.
And then they got up and left.
Wow.
And then her friend who didn't leave answers a phone
Oh my
call
God, bro.
after all of this in the front row.
Come on.
Answers
Jesus, bro.
a phone call, and I'm like, "Hey, you're on the phone right now. Could you take that outside? Maybe the front row of a comedy show's not
Yeah.
the place to have a phone call."
Yeah.
And she looks back at me. She's like, "It's my husband."
Oh my God. I would have slapped
And I'm
her
like,
right there.
oh, that makes all the sense in the world then. Yeah. He's mad. I'm like, give me the phone, man. Give me the phone. Let's make him a part of the show.
Yeah.
And then she's like,
So
well, he's
good.
even more mad that you're doing this. And I'm like, then leave. And then she left finally. And it's like, it was a fun show, but like those are the kind
so
of hurdles you got to jump
Wow.
over when you're in like a tiny
town,
town
yeah.
from time to time.
That's
I
true.
find that so
Yeah.
interesting that like you guys have to almost take something so potentially like negative or like hurtful or distracting and actually try to make something good out of it. I find that,
Yeah.
and it's hard to do on the spot. It would take me 15 minutes, maybe with time on my hands, to think of something
I mean,
half decent. You know?
it gets easier the dumber they are, though, and the stupider things they do.
Yeah, you're balancing a three-way conversation at that point, and the main conversation is the one with the audience, and it's not like, I think there's a mistake a lot of comics make at some point at the beginning is they think that they're having a conversation with this person, but we're having a three-way conversation now, and you need to keep
Yeah,
it fun for
everyone's
the
involved.
audience. You need to keep the
Interesting.
audience liking you
Exactly.
through the interaction,
Yeah.
That's interesting.
and that's a challenge.
Also, what helps is when you don't like shit on the hecklers right away, like because that way, like if you start like swearing at the hecklers, like shut the fuck up. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the audience members are like, oh, that's a little, like distasteful.
Yeah, you
right?
lose the
You
audience.
yeah.
As collective conscience of the crowd goes, we don't like you now.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're being rude to that person.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have to like deal with it in a finesse way. You know what I'm saying?
Just fun.
Just
It's
fun.
got to be fun.
More fun, more light. Yeah.
But then
exactly.
sometimes, like when you've earned the,
You've
like
earned-
when
yeah,
they keep
exactly.
going and keep going,
Yeah,
then the
yeah.
crowd's like,
All
tell
right.
them to shut the fuck
Exactly.
up. And you
Exactly.
can feel the crowd go doing that. Then you can, yeah.
It's after like the third or fourth time, I'd say. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
appropriate. Now you can tell them to fuck off.
Yeah, but it can ruin your set if you pounce
I
too
know.
hard, too fast.
I know.
I've seen it happen,
Yep.
and especially that's the other thing. Like you can hear it. You can hear it's annoying you, but in a crowd of 200, like
Some people can't.
only 20 people can actually hear it.
That's true.
Right.
So everyone else just looks at you like you're being an asshole out
Yeah.
of nowhere. And it's
Exactly.
like,
what you
yeah.
mean.
Well, you have to call that person out for other people in the back to know what the fuck's going on first. Yeah, because that's how people just bomb the rest of their set when they just out of nowhere start fucking terrorizing the person in the front row.
100%.
It's just like distasteful.
Yeah,
Kinda turns you off a
It
little
does
bit.
turn you off. Yeah,
Who's
It's a little
like
aggressive.
if I'm just in the crowd and I'm witnessing what you're describing, I'd be like, yeah.
So yeah, you're a comedian. Now you're supposed to handle it.
Yeah,
like
and you're a comedian on stage. You're supposed to be like, hey, I'm a fun guy. I'm
it.
gonna lead
Yeah,
you through some
exactly.
fun, and then all of a
Totally.
sudden you're
not
shook.
be aggressive. Yeah,
Why are you shook?
I know. Yeah, you're supposed to handle it exactly.
Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah, so I was gonna ask you guys because when you're describing that, I feel like okay, so nights like this are maybe typically where you like earn your stripes, let's say, or like you figure out how to work through things that are difficult, like hecklers or whatever. What do you? Okay, so that distinction between somebody like let's say Dave Chappelle, who's doing like a headline arena tour sold out. Like besides that audience, which is obviously 100% there to see Dave Chappelle, and it's like it almost negates my question. And my question is like, besides the heckler one and the one where like your people are coming to see you, in the middle, sometimes there's these like random nights, and it's maybe random for some particular like key ingredients are there. Maybe it's a special night, or it's like a certain city, or it's a certain time of the year where it's just like there's like that magic in the air, and it's like it's gonna be a great fucking night tonight, or a great set. You know, there's no hecklers, or maybe it's, I don't know, like whatever. Is there some like ideal or sort of like perfect night that exists between people coming to see you? Obviously they're there to see you and they're going to be a great crowd, and you know, the heckler one, like you gotta understand my question. I'm curious to know if there's something.
Yeah.
It's like where the crowd is just hitting. You're hitting like every joke, and it's
sometimes there's that.
I mean?
That's just in the air. Like one time, especially because like with comedy resurgence, like the resurgence of comedy coming back and everything, like there's been a lot of excitement about like live shows. But we did this one show at Absolute Comedy in Ottawa, and on the intro music of being like, show's gonna start in 5 minutes, you know, that they do over top, it's like a voiceover or whatever, the crowd started like clapping and stomping their feet, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be a banger, man. Like this
that's fucking hype.
yeah.
Damn.
Like stuff like that where there are little like keys. Oftentimes from the way the crowd cheers when we tell them the show's gonna start soon, you can already know
Yeah, exactly.
if it's gonna be work.
I wonder,
You can
like,
tell energy.
I wonder, as people who have obviously done like opening slots, middles, headlines, whatever, particularly for
headline.
or particularly for
Andrew's
the
done
ones
it.
that are
Andrew's done
after
it.
the first guy. What's the first guy called? Bullet? That's
well, usually
it
the
depends.
host. It's usually the
Or
host.
host, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least in Canada, we call it the host because it's like because they like lead you through the show, and like they're more important because they really guide the audience through the night. Whereas in the States, oftentimes it's like somebody coming with star power, and the host is like just like a filler
Shit.
person that
Just
no one
shit.
gives a
Interesting.
fuck about.
Straight ass.
Yeah, and they're usually shit. Yeah.
Do you find like if you know, as you're watching somebody else before you go up and you're seeing like not just the crowd is good, but they're also having a good set that's setting you up, like does that get you excited? Like you're like, oh, and now it's gonna be, you know, now it's
for
gonna
sure.
fucking bang, like,
Definitely.
you know.
I don't think it's that certain. You're not like now I'm gonna go crush, but there's like an energy that and anxiety
off of,
that's
yeah.
building off of that you can feed off of. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely better than going up on stage after someone bombs.
yeah.
I'd actually. Well,
Is there
I'd
any
prefer, but
is
like
there any pro to that at all?
So someone
going-
bombing before you?
Yeah.
a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Because usually they do something very stupid, and then you get to address
Bring it
that
back.
stupidness.
Exactly.
And then they go, "Oh, thank
Ah.
God, this guy gets it."
Yeah, he's
And
not
then
as stupid. Yeah.
And then you're already endearing and you're in
Yeah,
to
yeah,
the crowd.
exactly.
Yeah. So
or
Have
it
the
could go
knight
the
shine
other
down.
way where you just keep going down and down.
it's
just
we've
keeps
all
getting
been
worse.
there. We've all been there at times.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I did like this mic the other day that it was in this like restaurant situation, and it actually like was a good setup, but there was like a birthday party there, but like it was like more of an ambush show.
Like
Meaning-
a
meaning that like
Those.
people didn't know that they were coming for a comedy
the
show,
worst.
and then comedy just started in them.
Oh, okay.
And it was like an open
different.
mic. Yeah, that shit happens
That's
all
the
the
worst,
time.
bro.
And
all the time. It's the
yeah.
first I've ever
Oh,
even heard of
dude,
this.
It's like
All the
I
time.
feel so bad for the audience
I know.
members,
I
especially
actually-
when it's a
yeah.
mic, like not
Oh
like a
my
show
god!
show.
Yeah, this is
So
the worst.
That's what this was, and I was supposed to be on
Jeez.
like 7th, and I'm watching like the comics go up, and it's just like dude, like every comic that's going on is like dude who's new, dude who like doesn't care, dude who like just wants to say some jarring shock humor, dude who's like
Talks about his cum.
spends way too long on Reddit, you know, like
my
and it's just like I'm watching like scarves get put on and like coats
Oh,
get put
it's the
on. And I'm
worst.
like, please
Oh,
let
so
me in,
Please.
and
It's the worst.
and then right before I go on, there's like this girl that I'd never seen perform before, like stood up and to get like she got called on stage, and the whole crowd automatically was just like, yeah, something different. You're like,
Wow.
you know, like that was the energy, and she was actually good. She was like from Australia. I'd never seen her before. I don't remember her name, but she did a really good job and had like some unique personal stuff to tell, and that went over well. And then. Yeah, and then I went on and then like I just smashed 5 minutes, just da-da-da, and
Yeah,
then,
that's it.
yeah, it was a good.
The
set.
pros in the building.
Yeah. And then like I'm leaving there in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, you smashed an open mic free show. Okay, let's calm down. Let's calm down now.
Let's come back to earth.
No, but that's actually a good indicator of like you actually like of your jokes doing well, because it's like they're not even paying audience members for comedy. So if they're laughing, that's how you know your jokes are good.
Yeah,
So,
to a degree. But when somebody spends $30 for a ticket, there's a certain like, okay, show me something.
Yeah,
Tell me why it's 30 bucks.
There's like
It
an
better be
extra
good.
pressure.
that's true.
Yeah.
They're all good. Good experience.
Do you ever feel like your sets are not long enough? Like, do you ever wish like I wish I had more time?
all the time?
I like, it's been wild because coming back from tour, I was doing like on tour, I'd be doing like 25 to 45 every night. And then coming back to like, I went to San Francisco and like to do like short sets, and then coming back here and doing short sets. I was like, oh fuck, I gotta like learn how to do this again. Like it was like challenging. I was like, I want more of these short sets so that I can figure out how to like seamlessly and quickly get between jokes.
Yeah.
And then on Wednesday, I was doing a headline set in Uxbridge for the first time in like a month and a half. And then I was like, oh fuck, now I gotta figure out this again. Like how do I do this longer form thing? So there's just like, I find them to be different, complete beasts to figure out. And like that's why like writing every day is so helpful, because there's always something to write about. And I probably could have prepared better mentally, preparing for a longer set, like the morning and the week coming up to that show. But I have a whole bunch of shows, so
That's sick. Do you prefer short sets or longer sets?
that's hard because there is something nice. Usually on a short set, I don't have to do anything.
I know.
You know? Like
that's the beauty of that.
you just come in, ba-bang, and get
Yeah.
out. You know, I'm producing so many of the shows that I'm like headlining on now, so that's like a lot more work. But yeah, I don't know. I think if the crowd's into it and I'm killing, then and we're all happy. Who cares how long it is?
Right?
It's kind of like it kind of becomes like you lose track of time in those
Exactly.
places. So
I prefer the longer ones because you get to slow down and like it's not as much pressure to kill. But then that's what makes you do better, in my opinion. At least for me, the way like when you slow down and like you actually do some crowd work in between, and it helps you build that the laughter even more.
100%.
You get to the next joke.
Yeah, you can play more, and like you can lose them and then get them back.
Exactly. Yeah.
In 5 minutes, it's like you better be killing from the jump. There's no time to lose them and get them back.
Because if you lose them, you're gone.
Yeah.
See you later.
You just have to
See
be
you
like,
next set.
well, thank you, bye bye.
Yeah. That's it. You bumped.
That's how you know I'm not happy with my set when I leave the stage and I'm like, well, that's what it was.
That's very funny. Shame,
That's good,
shame.
yeah.
The rest of the set couldn't have been as funny as that moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be funny.
What I like to do is like, all right, well, I tried. Thanks, guys. My name is Neema.
I like that.
But that's when they laugh at the end.
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's
what the
I mean.
fuck, man?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That for the end.
You motherfuckers.
Andrew, let me ask you a question. I heard Joe Rogan say something a few weeks ago on a podcast.
That fucker was talking about me again.
I know.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, he's like, fuck
Honestly,
that dude.
Yeah,
just
Canadian,
chill out, Joe.
Packer needs to fucking
chill out, Joe.
Chill out, bro.
Jesus. Okay.
Starts getting horsey warmer so much. So I asked Neema, and I'd be curious to know another comedian standpoint, a perspective. So he said something like he was trying to make the point of how difficult not just public speaking is, but also then adding the entertainment layer to that as well, having to be funny in this case. And he's like, there's something like, if I had to guess, like 500 or so like headline worthy comedians or comics in the world that can like make this is what they do full time and they're good at it as well. Something like that, like 500. Like I'm not stuck on that number, but I'm just trying to, for my own curiosity, satisfied, like how rare do you think this skill set is? Out of
How rare it is?
how rare do you think it is? And is what he's saying, does it feel right to you based on what you know about
I think it's
the world?
I think it's fair, but it's because like the framework of how I view what it means to like get to a point of like being really proficient and good at stand up has like completely shifted. Like when I was an outsider on like just entertainment and just stand up, I used to think of it was just like talent. It was just pure talent. You're talented at this, and that's what you went and did. But really, the talent seems to be in my actual experience to be like how can you line up the opportunities to improve, to get better, to continue working, and like it's such a more such a wider scope of like how hard it is to actually make it in comedy and get, because like the more experience I do, the more tours I go on. Every time I go on a tour, I come back, I'm like, I'm better. It's just like, it's obvious. I'm just better at this now. And that's challenging to line up those shows that will give you the reps to make you better. So, and then do that for years, like 10, 15 years. So yeah, I see how that's extremely hard. And to accomplish that takes like luck of like support in your family and just your situation in life. Talent, you need some of it, and then also just drive and persistence, consistency. So I do think that's a very rare thing, because like that's a lot more specific than just being talented at a specific thing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Totally. When you break it down like that, like as you were listing things, I'm like, yeah, like it's not just this guy's funny and he happens to be on stage with a mic in front of him, right? Like, I'm not saying that is the misconception, but I can understand, at least even for my own, at the end of the day, my hardest attempt at trying to feel like what it would be like to be you still isn't the real thing. Do you see what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, I still have not stood on a stage with a microphone, lights in front, like, and all those things, and try to also be entertaining. Maybe I could speak coherently about something, but like to entertain is a different layer, and that's why I was curious, like, because it does take. It's not like I said. It's not just you. Oh, he's just a funny dude, and now he just happens to have a mic in front of his face. It's like, it's not that. There's some of that. There's some of that. Like your disposition is just. I think at least you probably you in your own and unique ways you observe things in the world that ultimately process in your mind as humorous or whatever, right?
You're just portraying that in a good way.
Yeah, exactly.
That other people can understand.
Yeah,
but I think there are more people who think they can do stand up that than actually do stand up that are good.
So many. So many.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And, okay, so do you think it's just like their own awareness problem?
For sure. Well,
it's
that's
extremely, part of it. Like stand-up comedy is an extreme practice of self-awareness. Yeah. It's extreme because you're manipulating the crowd's awareness of you. That's a lot of comedy comes through that. The crowd sees you and you manipulate all of their predispositions about who you are. And that's a lot of comedy comes out of that. A lot of identity comedy comes out of that as well.
I never looked at that before.
And so you have to practice this kind of like self-awareness in order to like to play with that. And then some people they don't have that. They're not actively working on it or trying to figure it out. And then they just go, guess what? I'm putting out a comedy album. And you're like, what? Dude, I haven't seen you do a Type 5. What's going on?
I know.
You know? So there are a lot of people, but that's, I mean, we're in the arts, man. There's a whole mixed bag of different, mental states and stuff. Yeah. So, and that's kind of the fun of it. And I'm just happy that there are a lot of people in the realm of the interest. We're all trying to do the same thing, but yeah, some people quite delusional.
Very delusional.
Yeah. It's honestly, sometimes I would even go as far as it's kind of a shame, right? Because that person with the right guidance or with the right mindset or frame of reference could be a completely different performer on stage and just a completely different career altogether. And so sometimes when because I've met all kinds of comedians and comics, not just on this show because of my brother and other people in his circles, but I don't know, I've been to my own shows. I follow my own people that I find interesting. And I guess like being closer to this as just made me think more deeply about like, well, what is it that these people are doing? Because again, the misconception I've always felt like is like, comedians, what is it? Sleep on somebody's couch and slum their way through, and they're artists and they're deadbeat. It's like, not that they're deadbeats, but they're sort of like the hippie version of like, the comedy world. Yeah. But then you meet people who are like, I don't know, planning and no words, like mindset and perseverance and like what it means to actually do something meaningful over long periods of time and be a part of the process and like whatever.
So it's just maturing as an art. I think that's a big part of it. I think it was so new in the 60s that like you could get away with, like, it was just this thing that people didn't really understand. And if you were in the right position, you had the right talent and you had the right luck kind of come your way, you could find like really quick, fast, huge success. but it's something now that's just more competitive than it's ever been, and there's like way more components that just go into what it means to do what we do. Like it's even like this past like couple of years, just figuring out like how to have a camera set up with proper lighting and proper like rig setup, and like getting that all put together and in the right position in every particular room that I go into to do comedy, because like it's not just about going on stage and killing in the moment with people, which it's lovely when that happens. It's lovely that that's what we do. But I'm also like a fisherman of moments, is like something that's been bouncing around in my head. It's like I have to cast my net, and that's setting up my camera in the right way and have it properly put positioned so that I can capture these like big fish moments that come through, and then I can spread them to the world. And that's like another added thing that goes into the job description of what it means to be a working stand-up comedian, working comedian in general.
Exactly. Because if you don't have anything to show for it, then...
And I used to get and then I like had to battle through all the things, like the things getting in my head of like, oh man, like the camera died and I had this great moment, but maybe I just had that moment because there was nothing capturing it, and it was just, you know what I mean? Like
always
you get
happens.
this romanticized like superstition just becomes so appealing in your brain, and but now it's gotten to a point where I'm like, fuck that, turn the camera on, forget about it, and just go have fun, and that's what we do.
That's so true, man. Like when I was first starting to do like audience shows, I was like, man, like every time I record, I bomb.
Yeah.
If I don't record and I just wing it, I kill.
Yeah, and it sucks so much when you're like get your tripod out. You know, people are like, your tripod, eh? And you're like, yeah, dude. You're like putting like you put your like DSLR on there. You like set up the rig with your H5 on there and flip everything. You're connecting things on wires, and people are like, oh, nice camera, man. And then you go up and you spend 10 minutes doing that, and then you go up and you bomb.
I know.
And then you got to do 10 minutes. You're just pulling apart your rig after a bomb.
That's the worst.
And you're like, no one's captured a load of dick. That's what I just did.
And no one's looking at you.
Yeah,
no comics are
so
even looking at you. Like, that was not good.
So, you know,
Holy fuck,
that's the worst.
So funny.
That's so true, man. I don't know why that happens. It has to be a superstition.
No, it's bullshit. It's just like the moments would have happened anyway. Even if it were, it doesn't serve me to think that way.
No,
it's just
all in
like
your head.
it just hampers like the situation. So
you don't want to become a crutch either. Like I have to not record in order to do well.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that'd be fun.
At some point, you got to do well on camera.
Yeah. So now I'm just in the mentality of like record anything, anything and everything. Record,
you never know.
Except if it's like an open mic with 8 people, then I'm like, fuck it. You know.
Yeah. Have you ever recorded an open mic set?
Record? I always record audio.
Like audio, yeah, like video.
But no, because like I mean that's like another thing I've learned from like putting out clips is like part of it like is just a face value view of the stage, and if it looks like if it looks like shit, like poorly lit, you're like not standing on a stage, you're standing next to a bar.
There's a pinball machine behind you.
Cars driving behind you.
Yeah.
From the instant of someone seeing that. Like
turn off.
Most of them are like, oh, this is not worth anything.
100%. I agree with that.
As opposed to theater zooming in, there's a full audience.
Different cut,
like
different
instantly,
angles.
everyone's like, oh, maybe there's credibility here.
Yeah,
like maybe it's worth my attention.
There's different angles. Yeah.
Yeah. Different angles is huge. Like it doesn't have to be a perfect
true,
stage setup, but as long as you got some different
2 or 3 angles is good.
Yeah. Oh, if I could get 3, man, I'm on the 2 angle setup right now.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And not even just 3 stable angles. We got moving cameras too.
Oh,
that's the money right there.
Yeah, you got those audience. I'm in the left side of the room now. I'm on the right side.
Now I'm dead in the middle.
Where am I? Damn, I think it's crazy how many like absolutely dog shit venues there are for comedy.
Dude, that's an understatement.
Let me actually rephrase what I'm saying, because some of them aren't even for comedy; they're for something else.
Oh,
there
100%.
happens to be comedy there.
Yeah.
That's probably most
made
of
for comedy.
Most. I mean, there's only like 3 rooms in this city that are for comedy.
For comedy.
Legit.
Everything else is like, I did a
ping pong fucking venue or
and it's like literally like the show I did the other day. Like I mean, it was fun. I don't want to like shit on it too bad, but like They didn't have a spotlight, so they just had lights on in like in the back of the room. So you're just like normal like basement LEDs, right. You know, you're like that. You have that, but then like all the comics were on one side of a pool table, and then the performance area was the other side of the pool table, and it was just like
so weird.
That's weird.
Like, why? And then everything's well lit, right? So the comics are just sitting there, and I was like, I'm not gonna stand stage left
That's
just
so
the
weird.
whole time.
Waiting to go up.
Yeah. Everyone's staring at me.
They're on their phones
you gotta
too.
walk through the stage to go take a shit.
God.
You're like, fuck
Oh
me.
my
It's like, yeah, hey, I'm the comic that just took a shit 10 minutes ago.
Oh,
So,
that suck.
But you know,
And then also all the comics are on their phones. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just a bad look already.
yeah. So like stuff like that, where you're like, but that I don't know. It's just like getting the reps into so that when you get the nice stage,
Yeah, exactly.
you can go and smash it.
There's so much
humbling.
like delayed gratification in comedy that isn't even guaranteed, quite honestly.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Like,
Yeah, but it's worth it when it does. You know, going through all that shit in those dungeon bars and
dungeon
attics.
bars, addicts, yeah.
Attics, bro. Holy fuck!
This
let
room
me tell
fits
you,
8 people.
dude.
fits
I
8
don't know if
people.
I ever told you this, but when I was in my first year,
Yeah.
I did Van Dad's show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this guy
Sonic.
Sonic. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Dude, I'm sure you have stories about that place.
So many.
Do
Dude,
tell.
I'm telling you, this is my first time at Sonic. First time I met Van Dad. And I was super nice, obviously, off the top. Like, I always, like with everyone, right? I'm like, yo, man, like, I'm a new comic, whatever. Like, is it cool if I come by? I don't know how it really worked at first. And then he's like, yeah, come down at like 4 p.m., sign up, and you can get on right away. And I'm like, all right, cool, sick, I'm down. Took an hour and a half streetcar from Humber. It's Hoboken.
Yeah.
I'm so super excited. I get to the venue. No one's there, obviously. It's 4 p.m.
Yeah.
I'm the first one. So I'm like, oh, sick. I can sign up first, right? I sign up first. And then I meet Van Dad at 6 or some shit like that. And then the show starts at 7, I think. And it goes till like 2 a.m. Like it finishes at 2. It goes like the longest running show, open mic in the city.
All the comics would just show up there and just like from all the city, from doing like shows all the other places, and come drink there, and then they go do sets. And,
Yeah. Exactly. It's like the station. It's like
the meeting
the
place.
terminal station of the stand-up set, open mics. Yeah. And then, so I sign up at 6 p.m. and he's there, whatever, meet him, whatever is cool. Yeah, man. Yeah, cool. Yeah. You can probably get up in the first like 3. I'm like, okay, sick. And it's literally the smallest bar you've ever seen. There's 2 stools maybe at the front. And then there's like 5 stairs. Like, it's not even stairs, it's steps. It's like curls. And it goes up and it's like right here. And it's like you have to duck to get into the attic. It's like an attic.
What the fuck?
And there's literally like 2 tables, and it fits like maybe 5-6 people.
Yeah,
comfortably.
I think you could probably fit like 14 people in there.
Yeah, but then it's
maximum.
like you're suffocating.
But that is like,
oh my
god, yeah.
And then the stage is not stage. It's just like you're just 2 inches.
You're just the
over.
end of the room.
End of the room.
You just have a little corner of hardwood in the
Yeah. And then there's a window that sees the outside, and
course.
it's like it's distracting, right? So I fucking sign up, and then like the show starts at 7, whatever. Puts on a few people first. Obviously, you know how it goes. But like, just to tell you, like, he puts on like a few of these like the veterans, like the pros in the scene, whatever. And then I'm like, oh, sick. Like, am I up next? I'm like, amateur fucking move. I didn't know what bumping was at first, right? So then he's like, oh no, sorry man. Like I got a bunch of people I gotta put ahead of you. I'm like, oh, what do you mean? He's like, oh yeah, we just like you're new, man. You're a noob. Like I can't put you up right away. I'm like, but you said I could go up like in the first like 3. He's like, no, I didn't say that. And then I'm like, okay.
This is, I mean,
typical.
This is a beautiful introduction to that man, because that is what that man does.
I don't hate the guy. It's just like this is how it goes. And so anyway, I wait a couple of hours goes by, nothing. And I'm like, hey man, am I on soon? He's like, yeah, I'll put you on soon. 2 more hours goes by. Now it's like 10:30 p.m.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, am I getting up? And then more comics come. And I'm like, oh, well, obviously these guys. I just put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, yeah, these guys are going up ahead of me for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking midnight comes. All like 30 comics probably at this point pass. And then it gets to 1:30 a.m. and I'm still there.
God.
Because I'm fucking hustling, baby. I'm a hustler.
Yeah.
I'm staying until I get my spot. And then he's like, yo, man, I don't know if I'm going to have a lot of time for you, but like you can probably do like 3-4 minutes if that's cool. And you're supposed to get 10 minutes. I remember, right? 10 minutes each. I'm like, oh, fuck. Okay, whatever. I was kind of pissed, but whatever. At least I got to do some time, right? And then it's like 1:37. He's like, all right, guys, your final act. Coming to say final act, bro, first at 7 p.m.
That's
7
wild.
Final act.
Yeah, yeah.
I
6
go up.
hours later.
Listen, I go up and tell me how everyone left by that
Wow.
point. You know who was left?
Who?
Van had left just like completely.
Yeah.
He was already gone after
Yeah.
he announced me. I go up. There's a guy passed out and his dog's beside him.
Like actually
Like an
empty
asshole.
room.
Like this guy's
no.
passing his dog. He's drunk, and it's like a mini dog or some shit. I think it was like a service dog or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm performing now terrible jokes to a dog
Yeah.
at 2 a.m, and I still have to go back home an
hustle,
hour.
baby.
So truly dog shit.
That was probably one of the worst experiences I've had doing it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was
Horrible.
an attic experience for
It
me.
is like good. I mean, like there's one thing you learn from like those open mics at the beginning is like, cause you have to wait so long. You have to, sometimes you get bumped like an hour, some 2 hours, 3 hours. And imagine
crazy.
like, and then you learn like, imagine trying to be fun after being frustrated for
I know.
3 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the only benefit and like muscle I think you build from that is
Yeah.
that like, okay, if you have to wait, you can still do other things to keep yourself in like a good mood and get yourself like in the right headspace to go on stage when you get a chance. And
I don't know what
Yeah.
you could do.
well, I mean, I leave, go on walks and then come back and like, you know,
Well,
Yeah.
the fucked up part was for me. I was so emotional. I would go and
It was
eat
your
a bunch of
first-
food,
yeah.
and then kill myself, and then come back and I have to perform it on a full ass stomach.
Yeah.
And I was just like the worst idea.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is just terrible. But shapes you into the person you are later.
Yeah. Yeah.
What-
Also,
what-
those shows is like, I mean, when it's like that, like this wasn't like, oh, you were trying to get on like a packed show at like the best club in
No.
town, right? Like it wasn't.
it's a fucking
It wasn't
random
like
open mic.
it was literally, and these pros that are rolling in are people that make $20 on weekends.
I know, that's what I'm
You
saying.
know,
I'm
like
like,
we're
pros,
not,
bro.
we're
Like,
not
what do you
talking
mean?
about like these. No one's
No one's a pro.
touring.
I
Like
know.
this is like, what are you
That's what I'm
talking
saying.
about? Like
Exactly.
there's like a small group of people that like go and actually like make a living at this, and like,
Yeah.
and then there's like these like cohorts of people who they come into it with their own different intentions,
Yeah.
but
But
we're
they're
not
not-
like, let's not be treating them like these like famous headliners.
I know.
Like,
Right.
That's the problem with a
Oh,
lot
that's
of those
crazy.
people in the scene. They just think like, oh, like you're a pro. Like, bro, like you make no money, or you don't do anything. You're just pro because you've been doing it for 7 years. But that's not pro.
they're
You've
like,
just been there
they're
for a
super
while.
good at talking people at shows. They're super
Yeah.
good at shooting this shit. What they do on stage is something else.
That's what I'm saying.
But
Like what pro? Like
Yeah,
yeah, it's like a lot of it gets into their heads like in an ego way. Like when they call themselves pros or like other people call them pros, they think like, yeah, I'm a pro, and they walk around like that. Some of them, and I'm like, man, like you're still here. Like you're doing random open mics. Like, you're not a pro
Yeah.
if you're doing these shitty open mics.
100%.
Like you're not doing anything else. You're not leaving the city.
Mhm.
How are you a pro?
No.
Yeah.
No,
So
I have no
we gotta
idea.
redefine what pro means.
That's what I'm saying. That was my biggest issue for a couple of years. So I'm like, man, like how am I? I don't know. I'm not worse than a lot of these people. Like maybe a little, but like I have less experience. But like they're not like that much better.
No.
So it's like it's just a politics thing, you know?
yeah.
Do you think
But-
there's a need for like a new comedy club in Toronto?
I mean, I would love more
Yeah, for
comedy.
sure.
You know,
Definitely some
more
more.
comedy would be great. The Corner is great. I love
Yeah.
it. Love its
Shout
good
out to The
time.
Corner.
Yeah, it's a beautiful room setup. It's intimate. You can the crowd work there. You can do it
Perfect.
like no other place
So
because you
good.
can see every single person.
Yeah.
Cool.
And everyone's like kind of like on the edge of their seats because they know
Yeah.
they can be like called upon
that.
at any point, you know? So it's very, very fun in that way. And I love it for that. And then Absolute Comedy is, it is. Comedy Bar is a beautiful spot because it's like they keep like updating and everything. It's really nice. What we need in this country is a force for good that wants to build up and grow talent. And then we need a bunch of talent who are not only good, but
Wanna
will work really, really hard
Yeah.
to bring things and add value and bring it to fruition.
Yeah.
That's what this country needs more than ever.
100%.
Because right now, I find personally that a lot of the gatekeepers and the acts have small-minded goals and small-minded view as to what entertainment can be in this country, and it hinders and inhibits, and the actions that they're taking are parasitic instead of uplifting.
That's a great way to put it.
It's very interesting.
100%. I agree
Yeah.
with that. Yeah. You said it perfectly.
I
There's so
wonder-
many small-minded, like they think, like the gatekeepers, they think like those are that's the key to like success. where I'm like, there's so many opportunities out there. Like otherwise, you can take this into your own hands.
They're fighting each other. People are, like, they think that like more people doing comedy, making comedy happen is great for comedy, and it's great for all of us. That should be the mentality. But like small town market, like imagine like Ottawa, Kingston, if one guy's running a show or one guy's running a club and then somebody runs a show, they take that as like a personal slight against their actions and against their business. To do with them. Competition breeds improvement and 100%. Growth. So if you're bitching about somebody doing comedy in your town, you are lazy.
That's facts.
So glad somebody said it besides me.
That's so facts.
Like, and there's no other way to put it. And it's like, oh, like, yes, you're investing money. Okay. You're investing money to promote your club, promote comedy, promote your show, promote comedy. Sure. Okay. That's not lost now because someone else is doing comedy. And like, I don't know. Like, it's just like, just work together. I know. Please work together. Well, and like stop trying to stop people from like working when it's so hard to work, you know? Like,
I know, right? It's like, how are you going to tell me I can't perform at this place because I'm with you here? It's like, don't you want me to get better?
Yes, it's scarcity mindset. The pie's only so big. Yeah. And it's like, no, the pie's infinitely huge. Canada, like, it's never been a more level playing field for like global attention and global media. And so Canada could be a competitor in a lot of ways to like we are globally competing with entertainment. And if everyone just looked at it like that, it would be nice.
Yeah.
I think everyone's looking at it like it's like their town or this is the market. This is the province. This is my country. It's like, no, dude, like this is our world and let's compete.
I know.
Nice.
100%.
There's this famous study that shows what happens if there's a restaurant at an intersection and another one comes and builds itself somewhere on the other three corners, right? You would think, okay, the first place is going to get like half as much or deduction of customers or something like that. And then a third one comes and a fourth one, and you think, oh man, by the time the fourth one comes, the first one is probably out of business. What's interesting about this study, and it's been shown like loosely based off this in multiple parts of the world, just in how they build out city centers in a sense. The more places there are on that corner actually drives more people, giving them more options. And then it's not so much about are there enough people? It's a matter of which people are contextual to your venue. So, if there's 4 Italian restaurants, sure, that maybe it starts to break down somewhere in the model. But if there's just 4 places that people can choose to eat or to be entertained or whatever, it actually ends up that there's more people coming. And out of that more people, you also get this like, hey, last time we went here, this time let's go here. And now you have variety and sort of like nuance where people can be like, oh, let me try different places. So
I'm 100%.
Like, I'm not expecting everyone to know that study, but I'm bringing it up to say to your point, like not only is it scarcity, but some of the things that like I've looked into that have come across like just what I've read, like that study, or just this idea that there's not enough for everybody. And it's like there's more than enough for all of us. And how we have this idea, I'm not sure if it's cultural, I'm not sure if it's a business perspective, I'm not sure if they're greed or what's playing into this, but it would be a shame to see Toronto, which even just from a pure statistics play is what the third most populated in North America, doesn't have like a meaningful presence in an art form that is timeless and is brave and is courageous and you, not just present company included, but you comedians say things that people like me wish they could say. So there's a lot of elements that I wish like would go behind like the swing of the bat of the country or the culture to put, let's not pedestal it over other things, but let's bring it back up a little bit. Like that would be I would personally love to see that, which I think is what you're saying as well.
Yeah, so. It's all like, it's hard to find somebody who's like driven and actively wants to grow something. And I think that's a problem in like every, business. People are always all struggling probably to find that. And I think that our industry is, there are a lot of people working really hard, fighting the good fight or whatever. But I just think that, I would hope that there's more and more happening from like the top of the. I don't know if there's like that much motivation if you're at the top to like try and help everybody and grow the pie. Maybe I don't know what the problem is, but
it's literally the first thing I would do if I was up there.
Well, there's no money. That's why.
Yes, that's the thing. Like, it's like an investment. Like a comedy club seems like probably a pretty bad business to run. Like, it's like not. You'll maybe see a return after 10 to 20 years of running that club. Realistically,
unless it's the Comedy Store.
But that's what I mean. Like that. Like if you run one of these like clubs properly and you grow it and you run it with a goal of building, growing talent, sending them out, and then having them still look at you with like fond eyes. Like that's the place that I owe a lot to.
It's the gym.
That's like a mentality that these like people who are deep in their careers could have about a place.
Yeah.
And that I don't understand why not all of them, but some comedy club owners don't think with that longevity. In the way that they act,
100%.
like gatekeeping, you know.
Yeah.
For example, like you know, we were talking about Van Dad or whatever, but like that mentality is something that exists in a lot of comedy club owners.
Yeah.
And so they're an asshole from the jump.
Yeah.
Just an asshole to you and how they like every interaction. And like, sure, you need to have a hard front for the first like couple minutes, whatever, couple weeks, even month.
Yeah.
Be quiet, whatever. But to be actively an asshole to not just you,
I know.
not just you, but all these people you know.
I know.
All these comedians, every comedian with one story about this individual where they were an asshole to them.
Wow.
And then you grow through that, and then all of a sudden I've got this person's respect, you know, because I crush at their club now. And then, but there's nothing I can do with that.
Right.
Yeah,
because you were an asshole and are acting like an asshole to everybody. Still.
I know.
So now I maybe eventually will gain a platform.
Yeah.
And use that platform to go different places, but that platform could have been your platform.
100%.
Nice.
But you were an asshole the entire time.
Bro, that's so true.
Fuck,
That's legit.
I
took the
know
words
the
right
pain.
out of my mouth.
Dude, I know the pain behind his voice. I know it.
So it's like, I mean, then there's like a place like the Corner, you know, like Joe's doing a great job. He's like always, he's nicer than ever now. I've known him for like 6 years. He's in a good place, man. He's nicer than ever, running a great business. And I had nothing like negative to say, only positive things to say about that club. Beautiful club. He sets it up well. He books it nicely. Like, you know, like that's a place that it would never matter the amount of money. I would always come back
100%.
and play that place.
Man.
Definitely. It makes you feel like you're truly at home as a comic.
Yeah.
Like there's actually a spot for you. There's a place for you. And that's why I've never felt until I obviously met Joe and went to the Corner and stuff. So like that's probably the only place in Canada I could confidently say is like the only place I'll always only go. I ever go.
I think we're due for some reimagination of a comedy show. At the very basics of it, like if we not to remove the essence, but if we could reimagine like what a comedy show could look like, maybe the time, the length, the time of the day, the amount of people, the amount of like whatever, everything I feel like should be up for debate, minus the art. Let's not get in the way of the fact that this person needs to just be heard clearly and seen clearly to tell things that are like, let's not lose that part. But it'd be interesting to I don't have an answer, but I'm saying some imagination of like, well, we could go from it being just whatever Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights to somehow we find a different use that's related to comedy during the day, evenings, other times. Like, I think to have this many resources at this point in time and in this part of the like world cycle that we're in 2021, to just go and get like a brick and mortar place and just try to do what somebody else is already doing that clearly isn't working, not because they're not good, it's just the world has changed, right? There's different needs, there's different customers.
I was even thinking, I was like, you know, it's been bounced around in my brain as a very much a possibility that like, you know, stand-up comedy probably will die as an art form. Like,
I think so.
Yeah, like it's like everything's going online, and I think that it'll never die. Like getting people to be able to come to your like, you know, your thing. and if they're like fans of you and whatnot, but it's like I could see it not existing
as much
in the next like 50 years.
Oh, maybe you have a very long timeline.
Yeah, like a longer timeline. Like I think people actively still love going out and to a show and everything. Like, and as long as it's like it's really, but as an art form that people actively want to seek out, I still think it's like this niche thing. Like for the amount of people, like
it's not mainstream yet. I feel
that's so interesting.
It's bigger than it's ever been right now,
but it's still not.
But
mainstream.
It's still not mainstream.
But that's the thing. I feel like it'll get to that point before it gets to the point where it dies out.
I hope. I just have to recognize it as a very much a possibility.
Yeah. Well, maybe. I mean,
Sorry, I want to jump in because I interestingly disagree with both those perspectives, and I'm not even in comedy. That's what I find interesting. First of all, I do think it's mainstream. I think most customers like me.
I mean, I hope you take the term nicely, but you're a comedy nerd. You're someone who loves comedy. And you're like, you exist. There's a lot of people, but you are inside of like a niche group that messages me on Instagram a lot.
Giving away my look.
And but like we love that. Like that energy that people like you have when you're at a show is the energy, whether you're into it or not, you should have when you're at a show because it's fun and you will have more fun when you have that energy. Like why not like give it that like that value and that attention that because you'll only get that back, you know? So I love your perspective and we need people like you.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you. But I appreciate that. Second, I wanted to add the second part being, I actually think, we were talking about sorry, I lost my train of thought. We were talking about the comedy and like the
how
comedy dying, the end of stand-up comedy.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Apocalypse.
I equate this to like music festivals, if you want. In the future, there certainly is a scenario where somebody who lives in whatever city is wanting to go to EDC in Las Vegas and can do that through hologram, metaverse, some other whatever, like I don't know, digital, whatever. I think that's like a nice to have, but at the end of the day, people have been gathering around fire and drum circles well before metaverse was here. Sure, stand-up comedy perhaps wasn't the same formation of things, but okay, I'm also to be charitable. Like I'm not trying to be but you guys started as clown gestures.
Yeah, legit.
Right? Like to entertain people.
Yeah.
That's been around way longer than I think like this digital thing is. Not that I don't believe in the digital and crypto, and there's a lot of interesting things that are happening. But I don't know if there's a part of me that's like, I'm positioned in a sense of like, I know at the very base of this is still human in the same room, 3-dimensional connection, right? Because obviously like, I don't want to get too decontextualized, but like if we extrapolate this logic, which I'm not saying is what you're saying necessarily, but it could be, well, why don't you just date your girlfriend virtually? If you don't want to be around people and experience things person to person, which that's what I'm batting for. I'm going to bat for. I just don't think that's going to go away. And then I'm hoping that empowers people like you because you're like more people, more opportunities, more whatever. Like this could get bigger. And I hope that that's that way as well. Maybe I'm just, I don't know, like you said, a comedy nerd and optimistic. But
like it's I hope it doesn't go away and I hope it continues to grow and everything. It's just I think like it's partly maybe the shock and trauma of the pandemic. Just being you need to, because yes, the character of the jester has existed in all of time, but there is not currently a role for somebody to stand next to a king and make him laugh. And that's what I'm equating stand-up comedy
that's
to.
That's what online is for.
The character that we are developing and continuing to grow has a role in society, but I don't know that stand-up comedy will always be the medium in which we get to express it.
Okay. Like it's not like a,
I accept that.
It's not like a mandatory thing that people need necessarily. Like
we'll see.
Like comedy itself, I feel like people need, but it doesn't have to be the in-person like you're talking about. Like there is online now, obviously, right? So that could be
once it gets more seamless. Right now, it's clunky as fuck. Like
it's super all over the place.
Hard. But like once we get that instant feedback that sense that you can feel when you're in like an actual room, then it might be a game changer. But we're at like the iPhone 1 of like interaction online right now.
That's true.
It's like super clunky.
It could be like like VR stand up. I don't know.
Yeah,
like people are in the room with you, but like they're at their house,
or you're in their room,
or that's
just have like a neuron like attachment that goes up your nose, and all of a sudden you're in like the bioverse, and then not only can you act out your jokes, but you can like morph into your jokes. That would be wild.
And now we're all on just acid.
Yeah. No, it'd be better than acid.
Yeah, probably.
Like, you still doing acid?
Yeah, you're a fucking noob.
Dude, you gotta come to the metaverse.
Yeah. Man,
you guys are living in 3021.
I know, right? I gotta actually go in a few minutes because I have an audition to do. But I was gonna say, you were talking about like building a platform and about like the gatekeepers and like how like if they could just like work with the comedians and want to build with the comedians, how much more successful they could be. It's just an example I like to mention because this could happen to anybody. But when I was at Humber. And we had a showcase at Yuck Yucks, and Mark Breslin was there. He was one of the guys who like he's one of the gatekeepers, right? Yeah. And I don't care that I'm like saying his name because I just want it doesn't matter to me. But he after my set he came up to me and he's like, man, like not he didn't say man, but like in my own words, he's pretty much like, yo, like this was not a good set. You're not that funny. You have like a long way to go, but like I don't see you getting anywhere with comedy. He said that to me. Yeah, straight to my face.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And now I'm like, well, fuck you, man. Look at me now. Like, if you just were nice to me, bro, I could have hyped up your club. I could have been doing your club.
It's like more. That old man dad energy of like, he's gotta earn my
he's super fucking dick to me.
Earn my approval.
But that's the thing. It's like it really fucking hyped me up.
Like you have a dad, so like that didn't do anything for you. But if you didn't have a dad, you were like, I will show you, Mr. Mark.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm like, it's just a good example of like, one. I mean, you don't have to listen to what anyone says. If you're watching this, if people try to bring you down, fuck those people. You gotta believe in yourself more than anyone else. Yeah. That's how you're gonna build. That's how you're gonna get better and bigger. And so. That's also I was just reminded because you were talking about gatekeepers. Like now, I there's no scenario where I see I would ever work with that guy.
Was it a good set? Did you feel you had a good set?
It's decent. Yeah, like I got laughs and it was good.
Yeah,
like,
fuck that guy.
Yeah, no, I didn't bomb. I didn't bomb at all. No, that's not the case.
See, that's bullshit.
If that was the case, I'm like, all right, maybe I'm shit.
Yeah.
But like, I knew I was shit at the time.
Yeah.
But I knew, okay, obviously I'm new. Like I'm not gonna be this bad for. Whatever forever, right? So
100%. My man when he Mark said that, I'm needs to go to the Gary Vee School of Kindness. It's always the right strategy, man.
That's it.
It literally costs nothing not to be a dick.
Yeah, but now like with him being a dick like that will never make me want to go back to his club, right. No matter what happens. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, there's no way.
I mean, that's another one that just doesn't like. Dude, there's so much that could be happening for them that they could be doing. There's so much. Like, dude, like literally you go to any small town in this goddamn country. Goddamn, I love this country. Don't get me wrong. But you go to any small town, they all know Yuck Yucks. They all know it. They all know what it means. Yeah. They know it. You have the brand recognition. Yeah. Why is there not one person calling every theater in every tiny town being like, guess what? This month Yuck Yucks is coming. Renting the theater, sending 3 comics, making $5,000 for comedy.
Wow.
Why isn't someone doing that?
It's right there for them.
Instead, I'm doing it with no name. Legit. And it's much harder, but eventually.
Let's go. J&T, baby.
J&T comedy, baby.
J&T
Across
comedy.
The country, Newfoundland.
That's it, baby.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. That's why I like, man. That's why I like people like you because, you understand the hustle. You understand the mindset of what it takes to just have just to zoom out and be like, oh, well, there's actually more out there. Mm-hmm. I'm not fucking closed in on one thing. There's no pressure to like, oh, I have to suck up to this guy or this guy to get this fucking 5-minute set on stage. Mm-hmm. There's so much more outlook. There's so much more opportunity out there. Respect. So good for you for obviously thinking like that.
Thanks, buddy.
But
man, it was great to have you back on the show.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. I hope it wasn't too like inside the industry of comedy, but
just like we
really went in.
That's what it went.
We're just bitter old comics.
He's fucking steal my pie.
These fucking progressive comics.
Let's go eat some meat and beer.
Yeah. Shout out whatever you any plugs you have for any tours or anything you're doing.
Yeah, I'm going to Newfoundland, and then we have Ontario dates coming up. It's going to end with a hometown show in Oshawa at the Biltmore Theater
Dirty
on
Schwa.
December 17th, baby. If you want to come to any of the shows, if you're in Newfoundland or Ontario, just go on my Instagram @andpacker and tap my link tree there, and you'll see every single date.
Super.
Fuck yeah. If you're gonna go to any show,
gonna be a fun
go to
show.
his
Hey.
and mine, but his for now.
Hell yeah.
Because I don't have one right now. All right. Anyway, so thank you so much if you're listening or watching this. This has been the Straight and Curly podcast. This is Andrew Packer. Great to have you back, and we'll have you back again because I feel like we could talk for hours.
Yeah, that was great. Welcome back anytime.
That's it. So thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.
Peace.